What's going on, folks? Welcome to 34 Questions. Today I have a very special guest, Jalen Quilizapa.
Yeah.
What's going on? Welcome to the show, Jay.
Thank you for having me.
No worries, no worries. For those who don't know, she's my niece, and also, I don't know if you knew this, I'm your godfather.
Yes, I did know this.
But yeah. So yeah, appreciate your time. I appreciate your interest and support. And I'll start off like this. To be honest, just want to I want to apologize for not being in your life more. I feel like for your generation in our family, I was in my 20s. I was going through my own thing and like trying to discover myself and whatnot. But now that I'm 30 and whatnot, I'm trying to reach back out and build those relationships. So yeah, this means a lot to me for you to come on.
No, it's awesome. I remember when my brother and I were younger, we would always get super excited to see you. We'd always be like, oh my gosh, Queen Joel is coming. Like we'd be so excited to see you. And so like this it's awesome. Like I'm so happy to, get to see more of your content and kind of share that with a lot of people. I brought one of your Hella Hungry bags to one of my auditions.
Oh, for
and
sure.
One of the professors was like, what is that? Like, where did you get that bag from?
Sick.
But it was really funny, but it was nice to kind of just like, I was like, this is, part of my family, this is someone that like created this content. And I think it's great.
That's what's up. What's up. And yeah, see, like you talk about that excitement, and I feel bad that I didn't like reciprocate and like be there for you guys and be more involved. But I hope you understand. And
no, I understand now. Yeah. I'm 19, going on 20 next year, and I'm figuring out life too. So
I feel you.
No worries. I'm glad it's happening now. It's great.
For sure.
Okay.
All right. Well, in case you're not familiar with the flow of the show, and for the audience out there, we do a few introduction questions just to set the tone. And then we get into the icebreaker, which is the spelling bee. And then we get into the main meat of the interview. And then after that, we conclude it with a concluding question. Sound good to you?
Sounds great.
All right. So my first question is, how have you been? I don't get to ask you this like often enough, but are you doing well? You going through it? How you been?
I'm kind of going through it right now. Whenever this episode comes out, just like, I guess, trigger warning, the Atlanta shootings just happened about a week ago. Things have been really rough out here in New York. I'm in college, and college hasn't really been addressing it. So I've kind of had to do a lot of emotional labor lately, especially with a lot of my friends. And so I'm struggling a little bit, but also kind of building a tolerance, building kind of like the strength back. And I think things are slowly getting better. I always have my music though. So I'm constantly playing, trying to practice like a lot more, just trying to connect with more AAPI on campus, get a little more insight from them. So things are a little rough, but they are definitely turning out for the better. And this is definitely a highlight of my week. I was very excited all week to just do this and see you, because I don't see you very often. And I think it's great.
No, for sure. You were talking about building tolerance, right? To everything that's going on. And what would you say is the difference between the tolerance or like becoming like, I forgot what the term was, but desensitized, because it happens so often. Is there a difference for that for you, or are they kind of similar?
I think there is. I feel like this desensitization is more of just not feeling anything towards it. Like, it's happening. It's happened so many times and you can't stop it. But for me, tolerance is like building myself up personally in a way where I don't cry about it every single day. Because again, like, we weren't super close growing up, but I'm a really emotional person. And so when all of this first started, which is literally a week ago, but it's been happening throughout the entirety of COVID and kind of throughout our lives too, because I bet you've experienced some of this as well. It's like, I've constantly like built that tolerance, but I feel like this last year it's been very, very like prevalent and real. And I'm very emotional, so I cry a lot. And so especially this last week, I haven't been desensitized to it. I understand it's happening. I still have these feelings in my heart, and my chest still kind of weighs a little bit heavy. But it's more fighting back now. It's like we kind of fight in that system rather than kind of laying in my bed and like playing a video game or something, trying to get my mind off of it, because I feel like that's a little bit more desensitized, trying to forget rather than saying this is happening and I want to fix it. I want to change people's perspectives on it because people forget, and I won't kind of allow that to happen anymore. So, yeah.
I got you. And I do want to touch more on this, but we'll touch it down on
right.
later in the podcast.
Yeah.
My second question for you is, what would you like your descendants to know about you? This is always interesting to me because I think you're probably the youngest person I've had on the podcast. So this question might be like a little different coming from someone younger than someone older, but I'm very curious how you would answer this question. So think later down the road, 5 generations down the road, because a big thing for me and like the importance of why I'm doing this is basically, in the midst of trying to figure out who I am and, in the midst of figuring who I am, I would think about what my ancestors were like. And I wonder if they were anything like me, like us, right? We share the same blood. So, so for you, what would you want your descendants, if they were trying to figure out who they are, what would you want them to know about you?
I think I would definitely want them to know about the artist that I am, because I feel like, a lot of our family, they're like, Filipinos karaoke, like automatic, like that's the center of the party. But I love karaoke. I love to sing, and so I feel like that's such a big part of like the Filipino culture is like the karaoke and being able to like play music. And I definitely want my descendants to know that like this is what I want to do. Like I want to play music for a living, and it's because I love it. And kind of that encouragement of doing the arts as like a full-time thing, because I do, I look up to Mama Jojo, or my grandmother, and she's a nurse, and both my parents work in a hospital, and these are great places to be. I admire them so much, but I want to be a person that's like a different route. It's like I did something a little bit different, and kind of having my story be a little bit more encouraging, as in like, you don't like, if you want to work in a hospital, go for it. Like it looks great, like grandmother and my parents have a great time, but like you can also do this and be okay. And so I think definitely that, and also I want to go being known as so unapologetically myself.
I feel you on that.
Yeah, right. It's so I want that to be like what I'm known for, because that's something that I try to be every single day. And I try not to like sugarcoat things. If I feel really strongly about a subject, I want people to know and what I think and to hear my voice. And I don't want anyone to be like, I hope that my descendants will like see that from me, and hopefully from my children and children after, and like just really take that, because I feel like probably our parents grew up with a lot of silence. They had to be silent, they kind of had to be quiet about things and not fight back. But I'm very much the fighting back person. I ended up being the opposite. Yeah, so I hope that I hope they see that, and they're kind of encouraged. If they feel very strongly about something, then go for it. Speak your mind. Like, if if you feel, you're right and you agree with yourself, and, it's morally correct, then go for it. Like, I think that's great.
For sure. You mentioned singing karaoke. I don't think I've ever heard you sing karaoke or seen you sing karaoke. But my question is, what's your go-to karaoke song?
Ooh, the go-to karaoke song. I really like Careless Whisper by Wham.
Oh,
That's kind of basic, I know.
No. That's a classic. That's a classic.
That's a classic.
Yeah, I have basic karaoke songs too. It depends on my mood. But you know that Tracy Chapman song, "Give Me One Good Reason."
Yeah.
Yeah. I like singing that one.
Yeah.
It's just a fun song.
Whispers. Yeah, Careless Whisper is my 100 score. So if I'm ever at a family event and I want to like be the 100 score, I'll sing Careless Whisper.
You gotta have that one.
Yeah.
You know, everybody gets hyped too. It's just like I know what you mean. But yeah, being unapologetically yourself, right? When did that begin for you? Or like when did you start consciously being like, I'm gonna be like this, or not be like this, but this is who I am,
Yeah, junior year of high school.
Okay.
Yeah, so starting like a freshman, sophomore year. So I guess junior year and senior year, I went to boarding school, went to arts high school in Michigan. And I guess throughout my life, I was always referred to as Jeremy's little sister because we both went to the same schools.
Gotcha.
Like we both went to elementary, middle, high school, same ones, but he always came first because he's older, obviously.
Yeah.
And so I was always known as his little sister. And I like being his little sister. He's great. I love my brother, but I like to be my own person as well. And so when I got into this high school, I definitely just saw this big opportunity of like, they're going to know me as Jalen. Like, they're not going to know me as Jeremy's little sister. So I need to make the most out of this as I can. And so, like, I will say, like, beginning of junior year, I was a little bit, shy. I didn't want to like come out of my shell quite yet. But definitely by the end of it, I was like, this is me. This is, I like to sing, I like to play music. I like writing poetry. I was very unapologetic about it. Even if some people were to say, oh, like, why do you want to do that? Or why do you want to do this? It's like, I don't need to reason it out for you. I like it. Like, I like it. My family likes it. Like, that's all I need. And it's definitely translated throughout senior year and freshman year of college. I feel like it's definitely helped me a lot in kind of navigating, a new environment and being like a bunch of miles away from my family. I was in Michigan, but this is even farther. And like, navigating that and being myself really, like, it kind of weeds out the people that I don't want to be associated with either, because I feel like my personality is really strong and I'm not apologetic for it. I stand up for what I know in my heart is right. And if that weeds out people that don't agree with that or don't see value in the things that I value, especially if they're really important to me, then like that's not something I want to like bring into my life all the time. Like, I want someone who values the same things as I do, to like not the same extent, because again, I'm a very strong personality person, but to just recognize that that's important is really important to me.
No, for sure. I think that's something I wish I kind of like knew what those hard lines were drawn out for me earlier. I feel like I'm just beginning to make those lines for myself and, really stick to the things I really like and then kind of like brush off. Because I don't know, for a long time, I was just somebody that, I do a little bit of this, do a little bit of that. But then now I'm trying to like, okay, I really am not good at that. And I know I'm not. I mean, maybe because I'm not really passionate about it. Maybe I don't really like it. So yeah, I'm just trying to spend more of my time on the things that I feel like are important to me. And it's good that you know that now, or you're continuing to learn about it. So there was another question, but it was actually about the careers and stuff. It was more like a comment.
Oh, okay.
Like I was gonna say, I feel you on that too. Like, people telling you what you maybe should be or maybe what you should do, and then but sticking to your guns and just being like, I know what I'm passionate about, all that good stuff. It actually is going to build into a question after this one. The third question is, how would you like to be honored? If I was going to be like, today I'm going to honor Jalen in some way, how could I do that?
Oh my God.
I know. Feel free to say skip or pass. It's no worries.
No, I want to answer this one. Now I'm wondering, how would I think if it was like, when I think of like honoring me, I'm assuming I've passed or something, you know.
I didn't want to say it.
Right.
But yeah.
But yes, assuming I pass and, you know, this is my honor, I think I would want people to be happy, of course. Like, not happy that I died, but happy that, you know, to know that I love my life and I had lived a good one. If it happened to be, you know, now, and obviously I don't, you know, my journey hasn't ended yet. I know it's sad, but, you know, I feel like already I'm proud of the things that I've already accomplished, and I want other people to recognize that too. Not to recognize like, oh, it could have been this way or it could have been this way, but like, this is what happened in my 19 years of life, and damn, it was a good one. Like it you know, it killed and was great. And you know, this is personal for us, but I don't know if you remember Nana Sing's funeral, when I think it was the day after we were at the funeral home, we all wore white, and it was just like the peace and the happiness and all that. And I think that's what I want, because of course we were all sad, you know, of course we all wore black and we were all mourning, but at the end of the day, she lived a fantastic life. She was the reason we're all here.
Yes.
And yeah, she is. And so it's like, it's something to celebrate and something to be happy about, that she was so selfless and she did this for all of us. And I think that energy, the happiness, is what I would want to be honored by, because I don't want people to be sad for a long time. I know it's sad, but you know, it happens, and you know, death happens, but you know, you got to celebrate what that person did throughout their life, because you know, if I went, I want everyone to know that, you know, I did the most that I could have done at the time that I was given.
No doubt. For sure, I got you. I will definitely try to, like, I'll say this one's for you on a particular moment or day, you know,
right.
of some good vibes. But
right.
So my fourth question for you is, how well do you know yourself? And if it's hard to put into words, you could just do a scale from 1 to 10.
I'm gonna say a 6.5.
6.5.
6.7,
okay.
if you will.
Okay.
Maybe.
All right.
Yeah, I think I'm still learning things about myself every day.
No doubt.
There are a lot of things that I'm aware of, that I do or that I internalize, or some, you know, culturally that I was brought up with. But I'm not aware. Like, I'm not aware of everything that I, you know, that I am as a person. Still every day, I look outside and I'm like, this is something that I do that I did not even realize that I did, and it was because of XYZ, you know, or my mom acts like this, or my dad acts like this, or you know, and it's something I genuinely, there's something new every single day that I'm like, where the hell did that come from? And then I have to think about it for like an hour, figure it out. Yeah. So I feel like it's constantly going to be at a 6.5, because there's always something new that I don't realize, that either someone else points out to me, that they say, did you know you do this? Or that I like catch myself doing, and I'm like, whoa, what am I doing? Yeah, it's crazy.
Have you ever seen someone do an impression of you?
No.
Because it is mind blowing. Like I remember somebody did one of me, and I'm all like, everyone was laughing, and everybody's like, that's so Jan, and I'm all like, hey, like I do that. It was just like, it was like, you know, glass breaking moment for sure. So
yeah,
when that happens to you, it's all funny.
I need to ask someone to do it now.
just see what they do, because then you learn about yourself. You learn about yourself in that way. But yeah, that it might be like an eye-opening moment for sure. What's it called? What I was gonna say, man. To be honest, this is like the most in-depth conversation we ever had. So like, I have all these questions that pop in and out in my head. So yeah, I'll ask you in person if I ever forget anyway. But
oh yeah.
Let's move on to the icebreaker. So it's a spelling bee. You down to participate? You don't have to if you don't want to.
I'm gonna prove my 5th grade spelling bee.
First place prize.
Gonna prove her. Yeah. Let's do it. I'm ready.
All right. So it's only one word. You get 2 chances, and like I said earlier, if you get it right, you'll be invited back on for the spelling bee episode down the road. And the word is liaison.
Liason.
You got one more chance.
What?
No.
Is that not how you spell it?
There's a hint.
Wait, Lias. Oh no. OIN?
No, I'm sorry.
What was it?
Liaison.
Oh,
Yeah.
I knew there was an extra I somewhere.
Yeah. Your parent, I guess your mom was a liaison, and when they came onto the podcast, I gave her the committee, and I gave your dad liaison, and but they were like, "What?"
Did you spell it right?
He didn't.
No, I knew it. Like, if I'm not getting it right, he's not getting it.
Now they were pissed about like how I gave them, because I guess your mom's liaison, your dad's on a committee, so it's just like, they could have gotten right if I had given them the words switched up. But yeah.
Oh, that's so funny.
No doubt. Oh yeah, now I remember, there's another comment about how you were talking about how you're discovering yourself, and you kind of like notice how you are, like there's your parents' traits in you. I think that happens more and more as you get older. I know for me, I'm like, I just noticed like, oh man, this is how I'm like my dad, this is how I'm like my mom, and I don't know what the percentages are, but yeah, it's a trip. It's a trip to like see it happen.
Yeah, no, I went back home for our winter break, and my boyfriend Theo came back home with me, and every night he would be like, I see now, like how you act, and I'm like, what do you? Every night, like I'm not kidding. He'd be like, you are like your mom.
That's hilarious.
So funny. Yeah, it was hilarious, and it's just like, yeah, you act just like her. Like I don't understand. Like you just like he said one time that I was like a clone of her. I was just remade into, and it, like I have my own personality traits, but whenever my mom and I are together, we're constantly like at the hip and constantly just like kind of bouncing off of each other, and I love like our relationship. It wasn't like this going up until middle school, but once I feel like it was maybe sophomore year of high school, maybe junior year, because that's when I left, and I don't think she was ready for me to leave, as much as she doesn't admit it. I feel like she missed me a little bit.
I bet she missed you a lot, for sure.
Yeah. But every time I'd come home, she'd say, you want to go to TJ Maxx? You want to go to Target? Like, I've been waiting for you to come home so we can go somewhere. So it's great. And I'm just like my mother. all the good and possibly all the bad.
Well, to be determined. To be determined. No doubt. For sure. Well, we made it to the meat of the interview. Go ahead and give me a number between 1 and 34.
This for a long time. Ever since you asked me, basically. And I think I'm going to go with 21.
21. Let's see what I got for 21. What will you be doing in 5 years?
Oh, well,
kind of like like a job interview question, but
I like that's really funny because I'm a freshman in college, so I'm actually in a 5-year program with the conservatory because I need to dual degree. So you're basically asking me what am I going to do right after college,
or what do you envision yourself doing?
Yeah, I want to stay in New York. I'm sorry.
Don't apologize to me. Don't apologize to me.
Sorry, Ma. I'm staying in New York. No, I want to be in New York, hopefully in the city. I go to school upstate New York, so it's pretty foresty, which is really calming, but I like the hustle and bustle, you know, I like that kind of vibe. And so I really hope I'm in New York City or in a city in general. Um, and playing music. I want to be a Broadway percussionist. So I want to play in musicals and stuff like that, and possibly maybe ballets or operas. I think that'd be really cool. Um, but yeah, I definitely think that that is down the line for me. Plans are to be determined though, because Theo is actually auditioning for the Cleveland Symphony in Ohio this year, like this October. And it's crazy. And I cannot believe he's doing that. And so if he gets the job, then he doesn't have to finish off school. He's done. Like, which we're both freshmen, and he's got the job. And so I stand by my word where, you know, if that happens, I'm going. There's no way I'm not going with them to go to Cleveland. And there's actually another school there that I really enjoyed when I was doing my college search. So that wouldn't even be a problem. I'd want to finish school, and I still want to, you know, play in musicals. Maybe go on a tour with one. That'd be cool. But I definitely want to be in like a pit orchestra. I think that'd be awesome. And I'm manifesting it now. I'm like, this is what I see for myself. That hopefully happens. Yeah.
Yeah. And you know, you talk about like all these things that could happen, right, or might happen.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, no matter what, you can find a way to you know what you envision yourself doing.
Mm-hmm.
New York and Cleveland, or back to New York, or any city. Yeah, like if I know if you're passionate about it, you're gonna be able to do it. So dope. All right.
I'm super excited.
When did you know you always wanted to? Oh, I guess let me backtrack. When did you start playing instruments?
5th grade. So I played the clarinet. I was awful at it. I really wanted to be Squidward from SpongeBob.
That's hilarious.
That was like my dream, but I was really bad at it. And so I switched to percussion, which for people who don't know what percussion is, it's like drum set, the really big drums in an orchestra. They're called timpani, triangle, you know, tambourine, all that jazz. And so I loved it. When I first started, I was like, this is it. I'm done. And so I went throughout high school, obviously, you know, graduated from Interlochen, got a really great percussion education there, auditioned, and I ended up at Bard Conservatory. And my professors here are amazing. Yeah, it's been a really long journey with percussion, but it's definitely never wavered. I love it. I think it's great.
For sure.
Yeah.
And then another fleeting question out of my mind, but all right, for sure. Throw me another number. Go for it.
Okay. I didn't know there were multiple numbers. I thought too hard about that one. I'll do 19. Sure.
Yeah, we keep going, and like, you know, yeah. So
no, that's cool.
No
yeah,
way.
I'll do my age number, 19.
All right. How have you disappointed yourself?
I definitely look back my sophomore year of high school, and I'm very disappointed. Only because I see myself now as more outspoken, and there were a lot of people I wish I was more outspoken to.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, and kind of, you know, saying, hey, maybe this is wrong, or maybe you shouldn't do that. And it's disappointment, but also I know that was a learning experience. But if I could go back and, you know, before I left for school, to tell all those people like exactly what was on my mind. My dad is very much a, you know, leave it in the past person, like be the bigger person. And I like being the bigger person, but also I want to tell you how it is. And I wish that I did that before I left with like certain people, because I feel like I feel like that would have been my mic drop moment. So it's like, you doubted me and now I'm out. Like, good luck. Which I wish, that is like a big disappointment of mine, is that I wish I just did it. Because it was on my mind. And my mom was kind of fueling me to do it as well, because she's, you know her. She was like, you should do it. You know? So, you know, I wish I had done it. You know, obviously, I don't think in the long run it would have been, you know, it's one of those, oh, you're only going to be satisfied temporarily. But I feel like if I had done that, I would have been like, this is the closing of a chapter in my book. And this is how I closed it. It wasn't like closed by force, you know, the chapter didn't end in the middle of a sentence. It was like, I ended it because this is what was right for me. Yeah, so now I want to go back and tell those people. But it's been too long now. It's obviously, but yeah, it's definitely like a disappointment of mine. I think another one is beginning of junior year. I was, you know, new to the school. Some people had been there since their freshman year of high school. Yeah, and so I was coming in as a junior, which most people did. And I met a lot of great percussionists. Still, one of them is one of my closest friends. Her name's Ava. We still text every once in a while, and even though it's not every day, we're still super close. But there was definitely certain people in my junior year of high school that I wish didn't affect me as much as they did. And I it was definitely more, they had more of like that turning point effect. Of me being unapologetic and me being me. So I guess I have something to be grateful about, but also it was definitely, I'm disappointed that I kind of like cowered a little bit to it, because one of the specific people had been there for a couple years already. And everyone knew that he was kind of being a jerk, unnecessarily to me as well, because I had just gotten there. And, you know, I had very different ideas of music. You know, again, I love to sing, I love to play, I like doing both at the same time, I like writing poetry, you know, and it's like, I was a very different personality trait for this specific person. And so I think maybe, you know, they didn't like that. And, you know, they don't have to, but at the same time, it doesn't mean you can be a jerk about it. And I wish that, you know, my previous self was a little bit more like, hey, like, you're being a jerk. Like, you know, straight to the point, and being like, you don't have to like me. We don't need to get along, but we do have to play music together, something that we both like doing. And let's just get over it. Like, we have to do this anyway. You know, there's no point in being a jerk if you got to work with this person anyway. So
yeah. You come across that a lot, which I've been in 10 jobs in 10 years, and yeah, there's a lot of people I've disagreed with maybe, and like we mentioned earlier, like I guess I'm more on your dad's wake of, like, you know, being the bigger person and letting things go. I think there's a balance, you know. I think I wish I could have said something, but I didn't know how to say it. Like, I think it's always okay to speak your mind and, you know, say whatever you want, but there's always going to be the way it's said, because, you know, choosing the wrong words could be, like, you know, hurtful, or, you know, instead of
more detrimental.
Exactly. And but yeah, everybody's not for everybody. I say that all the time. As long as you're not harming anybody else, right, like, you could have your views. But yeah. Sure. Jump into the next question. Go ahead and throw it at me.
It's 1 through 34, right?
Yeah.
All right, I'll do my mom's age, 34.
Ooh. I thought you were gonna say something else.
No, 31.
I was gonna be like, oh wait, what? All right. So, the question is, it's a fill in the blank. Life is all about blank.
First thing that came to my mind was love.
Nice.
So I'll say that. Yes. That is my answer.
What is it about love that's so important for life?
I think at least for me, I don't think I could get through life without love. Love for my family, love for my boyfriend. It's love for my friends as well. Like, I am a very wholehearted person when it comes to people I really connect with. Like, there'll be a random person that I work with one shift. This just happened on Wednesday. I worked with this one girl, and we had the best time ever. And I said I love working with her, and it's like I've only worked with her once, but it was not even 5 hours worth of work, but I still said, I love working with her. And it's the loves that are deep, but also the loves that aren't so deep, like I love aloe vera water. Like, it's not that deep, it just tastes good.
Yeah,
I love
yeah.
Sunset it just tastes good. And it's that comfort of love. And I know a lot of people say, oh, you can't toss that word around too much or something, or you'll get hurt. But for me, it's like, it's kind of that thing where if I died tomorrow, I want everyone who I love to know I love them. I don't want to go and someone doesn't know that I want them to know. So I think it's really important for me. Yeah.
That's dope. And those fleeting questions I have are coming back after a couple minutes about being, being disappointed in yourself and how you didn't get a chance to, tell those people how you felt before you went. How do you go about, or what's your stance on picking your battles? Like how you choose the battles that you fight. Yeah. How do you choose?
It's funny because my dad actually has asked me this question before, or not asked, but he's always like, pick your battles, like, and I think my battles come from what I feel very, very passionately about, something that I talk about to this day, and like, so, it's something like what happened in sophomore year. So it's still something that I think about, because those people had such an effect on my life that now I consider, a little bit, it worked out. It worked out the way that they had treated me, it worked out. But it's not excusable. And I still think about that. And the fact that, I was treated in a certain way that I know was wrong. So that is a battle that I feel like even now I would still pick and be like, this is something that happened and you should know, because I want you to know before, if I go tomorrow, I want you to know that what you did was, really crappy. And, if you ever come across a situation like this again, please do not ever do this again. And I think I pick battles based on if they would affect another person that in the future, that wasn't like, it doesn't have to be me, but if it was another person, like that person in sophomore year may find another girl, of like a friend of their daughter, that they start treating the same way as they treated me. And I know I hated that, absolutely. And I would never want another person to go through that. And, I wish I picked the battle with that person from junior year, because I know that they had treated other people the exact same way as they treated me going into senior year, except I blocked it out because I was doing my own thing. I met Theo, I was hanging out with my friends, and I wasn't being treated like that anymore, but other people were. So that's why I wish I had said something. I had been a little stronger, because I guess for me, it's like I could have stopped that from happening if I had said something. Maybe I couldn't have, maybe I could have said something and they continued to be a jerk about it, but at least I tried. I can't excuse can't excuse myself and say, well, at least I tried if I never did. So I think if I feel really strongly about something, that I think that if I said something, it could possibly change the way that someone went about doing something, you know, whether, you know, if it was harmful, like, and if it was a constant harmful, then I want to take that chance.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Cool. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
Throw me another number for
25.
25. What's the last movie, show, or book that made you cry?
That made me cry. Howl's Moving Castle.
Which one?
Howl's Moving Castle.
Howl's Moving Castle?
Yeah, it's a Studio Ghibli film.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah.
What's it about?
It was my first Studio Ghibli film. It's about this girl, and her name is Sophie, and she works in a hat shop. And there's a guy named Howl, and I'm gonna be really bad at explaining this, but basically he's like, he's some sort of like, he's not a magician, but like he has powers, and he can like shapeshift and all that. But he goes around in his castle, which is like this really rinky-dink, like moving. It has like wheels and like legs and stuff, and it kind of just moves on its own. But basically, it's about how, you know, and Sophie is just living this life that really isn't hers, and she meets Howl, and she doesn't know that it's Howl, but you know, she's like, oh, you're so cute, and he's like, I know, and then he brings her to like some place, and basically there's like a witch or something that hates Howl, you know, doesn't want anything to do with him, and so she curses Sophie because she thinks that Sophie's in love with him, and vice versa, and Sophie turns into an old lady for the most of the rest of the film. And like it's basically about it's so hard to explain. It's a really in-depth movie that has like a lot of different themes, but I think it was, you know, it was important for her to kind of like become an old lady, because like it shows that it's not that basic like young girl and young boy fall in love and like they're both super aesthetically pleasing, because when she turns into an old lady, she's very old.
I got you.
It's actually really funny, and she has all the wrinkles and stuff, and you know, she meets different like friends on the way, and like, you know, a couple of the other main characters, and like Howl still falls in love with her even though she's like old and doesn't know how to fix her. But no, it's such an odd movie. I guess there's no like actual real like what's it about. It goes a lot of different directions, but no, it's good, and that it made me cry because it's really good.
For sure, like it was so good it made you cry. That, I mean,
yeah, it was so good. Yeah.
I feel you. You know, I've never seen a Studio Ghibli film yet. I don't even know if I pronounced that right. Like, I feel bad.
I don't know if I pronounced it. I think it's Ghibli. Yeah, I think it is. You should definitely watch Howl's Moving Castle. I think it's on YouTube. Yeah, so you gotta watch it. It's great. This is my first one. I was gonna watch one like 4 years ago, and then I never ended up doing it. So now that I've watched it, I want to watch a bunch of them.
For sure. I mean, yeah, that's the same studio with like with Kiki's Delivery Service.
Yes.
My Neighbor Totoro. Yeah, yeah. I know these names, but I've never seen.
Yeah.
I've never seen them. But yeah, for sure. I got to. I mean, I consider myself a movie watcher, like a media consumer, and and yeah, I need to like pay attention to like other. I want to watch more like foreign films and like stuff from other countries, because you know, I just usually watch American shows, American movies, and they have different agendas, you know. Yeah. For sure. Give me another number. 2. Yeah. What is your most valued possession? It could be material, or it could be, you know, more abstract.
My most valued possession. like looking around on my desk for some reason. It's like I know it's not here. Maybe I don't have it with me. I actually didn't bring it to college, surprisingly, now that I'm talking about it. But it's my this is like an advertisement now that I'm gonna say the whole name of it. It's like Galaxy Humberg mallet bag.
Okay.
That my dad got me, I think, going into freshman year.
That's what's up.
Yeah, and it was it's like a Galaxy Humberg, I think that's how you pronounce the second word of it. It's definitely a Galaxy one. It's this like cylindrical one that kind of stands up on its own. But I remember when he told me about I had my Murmba, and he said, after, I think it was like a year after I got it, he said, "Oh, I got you something, but I don't think you're ready for it yet." And I was like, "What did you get me?" And I remember I was like, "What did you get me?" And like, he didn't tell me about it, and I honestly forgot about it. And I wonder if he like remembers that this happened. He's like, "I don't think, it's not, you're not ready yet." And I was like, "Okay, whatever." And then I forgot about it, and then like later down the line, he gave it to me, and it was when I could appreciate it. Basically, that was where he was getting at.
I feel you.
Yeah, and it's a really nice mallet bag, and I brought it with me to my auditions, and it's funny because like I see a lot of people with like lots of different mallet bags, and I feel like they, it's like, it's a mallet bag, what are you gonna do about it? It's like, it's just something to hold your Murmba mallets in, or your sticks. But for me, it's like, oh, my dad got me this, like, and he gave it to me when I was ready for it, and when I could fully appreciate it. And I left it at home because it's a heavy duty bag. Like, this is like, it's a bag that you take to auditions, or if you don't want something to get damaged, you take it with you. But because I was obviously going to college, like I didn't have space for all of this. But now that I'm talking about it, I'm probably going to bring it back with me for sophomore year, so I can just have it.
For sure.
Because now that I'm talking about it, it's like, oh, I miss seeing that like little bag around and just like, having it with me. That's definitely my most prized possession.
A gift from Pops, for sure.
Yep.
And that's a good way to teach that lesson about being ready for, some kind of possession that, a kid might not be ready for. But then once it's like, damn, that's like hella anticipation for the kid. Like I would have probably thought like a freshman year, my parents told me that, like, is it a car? Like, I know I'm not ready for a car. It was definitely not, it wasn't disappointing. It just wasn't I wasn't expecting it. There was nothing I could have anticipated for him to say, like, here, this is what I got you. It was really nice, and I still cherish it. There's another mallet bag that I have that I took from my high school when we all had to leave because of COVID. So that was last March, basically kind of just about last year from now. And I found it in like the old percussion closet, and it hadn't been used. It was super dusty. And so I said, I'm gonna take this because no one's using it. So I took it with me, and I took it back, and I actually went to Minnesota with Theo for about a month and a half before I actually went home, because my parents didn't want me to go into any airports or anything like that, because it was just the first big blow of it all. And that mallet bag is also treasured to me, not as much as the Galaxy one, but that one I actually had embroidered sick.
Little, like, a sun on it. It was just like a weird quarantine activity. Like, I embroidered a little sun on it, and like some little timpani and mallets, and it's cute. It's nice, and I like that one a lot. It's an awful embroidery job. Like, I'm not gonna say it's any good, but it's definitely like a little bit. It's a special. I did this. Yeah.
Anything you create, on your own is always going to be special to you. So
yeah.
Just a heads up, we're about 10 minutes away from the end of the podcast. So I think we could knock out one more number. Go for it.
Yeah, let's do it. I'll let you choose last number.
Okay. Well, I will choose. Let me think.
What's the question on your 1 through 34 that you want to ask me before?
I'm looking away. I'm looking at the wall right now. I'm thinking.
Oh, okay.
Remind me your birthday. We'll go with your birthday number, unless you already chose
January
it.
15.
15. All right, 15. Let's see. Okay. What does self-love mean to you?
I think it's like giving yourself a pat on the back. Kind of like giving yourself credit where credit is due. And that is something I'm still learning. I'm learning right now, actually. I had a whole 2-hour conversation about it with a professor this afternoon about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think self-love, in a different aspect, I like my little skincare routine, making sure I look nice and all that. And like, maybe like getting a new mascara or something. I'm like, yeah, self-love, but it's definitely, there's something deeper there that I haven't fully like gotten the hang of yet. And which is, giving myself credit for, going to college in a pandemic, being like first gen, being a woman, it's like doing all this stuff and like working, which is like something my parents didn't even ask me to do, but I just did it. It's like, it definitely, I think, is like giving yourself some credit. Like everyone's done awesome things, like, and it's nice to hear it from other people that you're doing great, but it's like even better when you look in the mirror and you're like, yeah, like this is who I am and I've done all of this. And, it's like, obviously what you do doesn't value your worth. Like, of course, everyone's worthy, but it is like a really great confidence thing of being like, this is something I did and I would not have been able to do it if I didn't push myself to do it, or XYZ didn't push me to do it. But I still, at the end of the day, it's you made the decision to do something, and like I feel like we should all be proud of it, like proud of something that we did. So I think definitely just not only believing in ourselves, but believing in the things that we have already done, and like remembering that, because I'm sure you're the same way. It's like you remember all these bad things, that maybe these like screw ups or something, and like throughout your life, and those are learning experiences, absolutely. But every once in a while, I just say like, damn, like this is me, and I'm super proud of that. Like, there's not a thing I would change. I think that's self-love.
For sure. Yeah, I feel like that's not something that was talked about a lot when I was a kid, but now it just seems to be more in the forefront of mental health, especially. And
right.
Yeah, and because of COVID, I think everyone had to kind of, I know for me, I've reflected a ton, because being home and being indoors, it's just like, damn, this is like whatever we were running away from, working all the time and being a part of the race. It's like now we kind of got to face it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no doubt. And trying to grab that thought again, and it is gone. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
I was super like ready to ask it too, and whatever. I'll ask you in person.
All right, that's fine.
Yeah. So we got to the concluding question, and before we get there, just want to thank you again for coming on.
Of course.
Thank you for your time. Thank you for just opening up, and like having the best conversation we've ever had on this podcast, and hopefully we'll have some more going forward.
We will. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. This is a great like icebreaker for us, I think. Like, we've always been so excited to see you, but like my brother and I never really like got to know you as a person too much. And I think, this is great. I love getting to know more of like the family and stuff like that. And like, I think my relationship with you was one that was kind of, it was there, but like you're the closest one to my age that I haven't been able to like, grasp onto like a concept of the person yet. And I think this is like really nice, and I'm really happy you asked me, so thank you.
Yeah, and of course. And we can keep sending love to each other off the pod. But my final question for you is, what is the greatest lesson you've learned thus far in your life?
You gave me 4 minutes to try to answer this question. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, you know.
I think at the end of the day, it's you. I think my definite lesson has developed a lot over the last year, where it's like, there are going to be people that are important to you, and there are going to be people who support you throughout the entirety of your life, you know, or maybe just for a little bit of your life. And there are going to be people who absolutely stab you in the back and you weren't expecting it. And so, you know, obviously have those escapes to people where you can, you know, you can be vulnerable, but remember at the end of the day, and I think my mom taught me this, where it's like, it's gonna be you. You are, you know, you are the person, the rock to hold yourself up. Don't make it another person that could leave, or could, you know, could actually be like a rotten turnip or something and just like kind of dissipate. You know, it's like that, and that's still something I'm making sure that I, you know, I practice, because I think there's been a lot that's happened to my mom that she needs to be, you know, it's her. It's always going to be her. She's always going to be a support for herself that doesn't leave, you know, that doesn't have the capacity of leaving, even though if she wants to or not, you know. And I genuinely admire that, and I want to be able to practice that, because, you know, it's not that I want people to leave, but at the end of the day, I'm not going to be the person to leave myself, because I can't. So, you know, let's learn how to ground myself and then accept like flowers into that rock garden sort of thing, I guess. Like, because of course I want people to lean on if I have to, or if I need a little bit of extra support. But I think that's the concept, is like, if you need extra support, then you have all these like people, but that main pole should be yourself. I think that's what I've learned, that I think is most important to me.
That's dope. For sure. Thank you for all your quality answers. I think, you know, you were very thoughtful, and definitely appreciate that. And yeah, you know, it's hard for me to find a way to end these podcasts. I haven't found a signature yet. Yeah. So